Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining the live today. My name's Amber Jean, and I have over 20,000 hours of teaching and practicing experience over the past 26 years. And today, the topic is resilience and overcoming your challenges. So, I want to start today with a little bit of a more sensitive topic or a sensitive share. So I want to share that I'm a survivor and that I had trauma that I buried for 30 years, and that when the pandemic happened and I got to slow down. So often trauma survivors will stay busy and they will fill their time becoming workaholics, and they'll do anything. You'll do anything. Your brain will literally do anything to protect you from the trauma. And that's basically what happened to me. I really want to share this in a book that I've been working on, but for me to get this information out faster is by sharing my story on these YouTube lives. So this was happened to me when I was 14 years old. I was actually kidnapped, and I fought my attacker off all night until I succumbed and allowed the rape to happen. And basically, when I finally got freed and made it home, as soon as I closed the door, escaping my attacker, and going into my house, I literally in that moment felt my brain change. And it changed in such a way that I completely, over the next 30 years, blocked the incident out. And I knew that there was something different about me, but I didn't know what it was. Okay. And that's your brain's response, your brain's response to trauma to protect yourself. Okay. And so once you go through a trauma like that, you often mask your pain with drugs and alcohol. And basically what happened to me is I started to get flashbacks, and I didn't know why. I didn't know why I was claustrophobic. I didn't know why I didn't trust men. I didn't know why I didn't like getting into cars, even Uber drivers, and not trusting anybody, was because my trauma was buried. Okay. And through therapy, talk therapy, I discovered that by not talking about it when I was 14, basically I bottled it up and it started to come out in all these different ways. Okay. And so I did 2 years of trauma therapy recovery, and I slowly started to understand myself better. Okay. And so, some of those side effects for anyone that has ever been raped or molested or anything like that is you lose your self-esteem. You don't think that you're worthy. I never thought that I was worthy to date anybody that had a good job. I never thought that I was worthy to really stand up for myself. Uh, so anyhow, so some of you may or may not know this, but I was with Larry Schultz. And before Larry died, he told me that I could facilitate rocket yoga teacher training. And I was with Larry Schultz actually when he left his body. Okay. And so when Larry passed, I was the last one with him. And because of the conversations we had about rocket training, I felt that this was basically my right. It was my right because I had spent 11 years with Larry, and I thought that it was my right to facilitate these rocket trainings. And so that's what I began to do from 2011 all the way up until even currently still facilitating rocket trainings, but now changing the name to Emerson Yoga. And the reason that is because when I was starting to get jobs in Europe, and these are dream jobs that you dream of your whole life, and having somebody bully on me, a man bully on me, and tell me that I'm not allowed to facilitate rocket training anymore, I had a trauma response. Okay, I was overwhelmed by him, and I didn't know how to stand up for myself or really be able to talk freely about the rocket anymore. And because of my trauma response, I went into working. Okay. So this is when, over the past few years, instead of pushing forward and facilitating rocket trainings like I had always done, I got a job serving, and I worked in a Chinese restaurant. And when I worked at the Chinese restaurant, I didn't have to think anymore about defending myself or standing up saying, that I have a right to facilitate rocket training no matter what. And in therapy, I discovered that, just because I felt this right, this really strong power to be able to facilitate rocket training, I actually did not own the name Rocket. Okay. And this was after I had spent so many years tagging all of my stuff Rocket Yoga, writing a Rocket Yoga manual, and teaching Rocket Yoga. And so, from learning more about myself and my trauma, I slowly decided to work on myself. Okay. And so this is a big part of having resilience. Okay. Having resilience means that every day you want to work on bettering yourself. Okay. And for me, bettering myself is through my yoga practice, my writing, taking lots of classes in yoga and Pilates, walking, nature, eating well, and working on my diet and working on my nutrition, and basically learning how to truly love myself again, and feeling that you are worthy. Okay, that you are worthy um, to have healthy relationships. You are worthy to be able to step into something new, which is my Emerson Yoga program, and ultimately learning how to love myself again is it's been an ongoing journey, of course. But the last couple months, there's been a big shift because I decided to end a whole bunch of relationships that weren't healthy for me. And a big part of the type of trauma that I went through is that I had a lot of different male partners. And basically all they wanted from me was sex. And I was okay with that. But then learning to stand up for myself and learning that I am worthy, I started requiring more of the men in my life. Okay. And when you start requiring more of people and calling them out on their stuff, that's when there's a huge shift that happens, okay? Because as soon as you start to ask for things, quickly the ones that were just using you, people that were just using you, disappear from your life. So this has been a very cleansing period for me, and I am still, going through recovering from my trauma. But through it all, even though I had gone through these things, miraculously I had a very healthy relationship with Larry Schultz. Larry made me feel completely safe and protected, and he always encouraged me in very positive ways. And that is really the type of people that you want to have in your life, okay? And so, when Larry left his body and I had to basically fend for myself again, I I did okay, but I also would shut down, and this was a pattern that was appearing in my life. And I slowly over time started to recognize the shutting down and the disassociation that happens with trauma. And instead of having a trauma response, I started to have a more positive yoga response of being an observer and observing these traumas as they came, and or this trauma response as it came. And then slowly over time I um, basically I started to, you know believe in myself more, okay, and believe that, no matter what you're going through, first of all, it could always be worse, okay. I'm lucky to be alive, and I am very lucky that I did have 11 years with Larry Schultz, because that grew my foundation. And through that foundation, I have always instructed yoga, and that's been my main job for 26 years. Even though I was working at the Chinese restaurant, I was also instructing yoga. But fortunately, I quit that job so that I could just start focusing on, growing my resilience to be able to handle things more healthy. Okay. And so that's basically, what I'm doing now. And, no matter what, as when I looked up the topic resilience today on my phone, the term Brazilian resilience came up, which I thought was very, very interesting. Brazilian resilience is defined by a cultural capacity to face economic, social, and environmental changes with creativity and a positive outlook, often described as a smile despite the challenges. So here I am smiling through it all. And I feel that this is a new dawning for me. And, and part of the Larry Schultz original philosophy was that your strengths become your weaknesses and your weaknesses become your strengths. And so, having gone through two divorces, trauma recovery from sexual abuse, um, losing a lot, losing a house, losing a marriage, losing and having to start over again and again and again. And, if I really want to empower empower women. And that's part of my mission that I'm working on is, using the things that I've gone through to basically help other people, right? And so this is all the yoga off the mat. And you can bury trauma for a very long time. And some people bury it so deep that they never want it to surface and they never really want to deal with it. But it does manifest itself in other ways. Okay. It manifests itself in disassociation, alcohol and drug abuse, and basically, um, uh, it makes it hard for you to have relationships with people. Okay. So, through all of these things and coming through this and starting something new like Emerson's yoga is this light. Okay. It is this light that I feel finally after having the trauma response of, kind of hiding from the rocket community for a really long time. And, is being able to talk about the rocket again, even though it's not, I don't own the name Rocket. I just specialize in it. And I specialize in the methodology of how to facilitate yoga teacher trainings, uh, how to take a very beginner student and turn them into an advanced practitioner. Okay. So this is my journey and I'm sharing with you today. So make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Throughout my journey, I never asked anybody for help. That was also part of the trauma response is you don't want to ask for help. You want because I never asked for help back then. I just kept powering through and powering through. And after you power through long enough, you decide that something mentally shifts and you decide that it's okay to start asking for help. And so that's why on my channel that you'll see those PayPal buttons and those Venmo buttons and links to my uh, online training and my in-person training is because it's time to ask for that support. Okay, support that will help fuel this new venture that I'm having. Because basically, even though we've got 708 subscribers right now on this channel, this is also part of it. This is how many subscribers I'm supposed to have, and the not having that many people watching this is actually better for me because it's allowing me to speak more openly and freely than if I saw a whole bunch of people joining, and that would make me maybe feel a little bit shy. So I am, you know, asking, if you want to support this, support it. Not feeling sorry, don't feel sorry for me or anything like that, because I don't feel sorry for me. I feel that I have learned so much, that it's such an honor to be able to share teaching yoga and to do what I love. And that's, my mission. And I am going to be, I'm going to be continuing to teach, hopefully for many more decades. And so I just want to inspire everybody that, no matter what you're going through, no matter how hard things have been for you in your life, that you're able to overcome these challenges. And I am a testament of that, because here I am 26 years later, losing my yoga teacher, losing over and over, just lots of different things over and over again. But here I am today, on this live with you. And so I want to, inspire you today. And I'm hoping just to keep these tutorials going as well, live yoga tutorials. Maybe I'll do a whole class. And yes, so I wanted to share this with a little more intimate share today. A lot of stuff is just surfacing. 2 full moons this month, so it's maybe bringing a lot of stuff out. But yeah, so here we are. Okay. And yeah. So here we are. Okay, everybody. So be inspired today, no matter what. Namaste.